than our local cable subscribers.
Thursday, 14th, 2026. Before we get started, I'd just like the members of the committee to introduce themselves. I'm Scott Kavanaugh. I am the chair of the committee and the mayor's appointee.
Dan Rist, I'm a city council appointee.
Jay Ryan, Conservation Commission.
Here I am, Chair Parks and Recreation.
Mary Church, Easthampton Housing.
Ken Iavecchia, Planning Board.
And I'm Ava Gerstel. I'm the CPA coordinator for the city.
Excellent. All right, just some administrative business. First, we have minutes to approve from March 12th, March 19th, and April 16th.
I move that all 3 minutes be approved.
Second.
We can do them all together, right?
You can, yep.
It doesn't matter what we're there or not.
Yeah, right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? All right.
We like it when there's nobody remote.
Yeah, I do. All right. So those pass 6-0. Thank you, Ava, for putting together the minutes as always. Public speak. This is the opportunity to speak about anything that is not on the agenda. So not Buttersfield, not the dog park. Anybody else here for something else? Great. City officials. Do you have any? Yeah.
I do have one correspondence. And this is a pre-application letter that came in after the agenda was set. So I think it makes sense.
Yep.
It came to me, so it makes sense for it to come through as a correspondence. So it's kind of a long letter. Did the committee members get a chance to see it in the folder? No. Okay. So then why don't we take a moment and I'll read it into the record. Yeah. Okay. So, dear Community Preservation Act Committee, in April 2025, Hurricane Properties, an out-of-state private equity company, added 17 Adams Street to its multi-million-dollar portfolio. This quirky old 8-unit building houses 10 adults and 1 small child, along with an array of pets. This was our home long before Hurricane came along. A couple of tenants have lived here for about 14 years, and most have been here for 4 to 6. Part of Hurricane's business model is to, quote, aggressively raise rents to offset increased costs, as stated in a 2023 letter to investors. We organized as a tenants association and didn't let them. Instead of 30 to 50% increases, we got them to agree to a 7.5% increase. We also pushed them to make repairs around the building. For the past year, we've had to deal with mismanagement, disorganization, poor communication, and disrespect. Our main contact is a property manager in Florida, where they have a few luxury properties. We've also dealt with one of Hurricane's 3 partners who's in Charleston, South Carolina. We've repeatedly asserted that this is our home and they should listen to us about its problems and maintenance. They refuse to take us seriously. On April 9th, they let us know they're selling the property, claiming they can no longer afford to maintain it. We know that's code for we didn't get the profit we expected, so we're bailing. The idea of buying it ourselves had previously come up, but is something to do eventually. Now it's crunch time. Without a legal tenant option to purchase mechanism in place, we had to scramble to mobilize resources and develop a feasible plan, while also coming up with non-confrontational and legal ways to make the property less desirable to prospective buyers and stall the process. We've been working with folks from Cooperative Development Institute, the Cooperative Fund of the Northeast, and the Valley Community Land Trust, as well as individual allies on the many aspects of this project. We're developing a general fundraising strategy and fundraising campaign and media strategy. We have support from the Easthampton Tenants Union, city council members, and others in city government and members of the community. We believe that buying this property and transforming it into stable, affordable, cooperative housing will benefit not only the current residents, but also any future residents, as well as the entire community. Our aim is to show what can be done when people work together to assert their power and push back against corporate interests. At this time, we're asking the CPA committee to consider providing funding for this purchase. We understand there are restrictions on the use of CPA funds and that there's an application schedule. We intend to submit an application, but we wanted to bring this to your attention now. As we are still in the planning process, we don't yet know what our offer to Hurricane Properties will be or how much we would ask for from the committee. Hopefully we will know by the July, that's our application deadline. Sincerely, Eileen Roseman of the 17 Adams Street Tenants Association. So that was a long correspondence. that I was tasked to bring to you. It is 8 units.
And I mean, like, it seems like we don't have to talk about it too much because they're going to come to us in the future, but just curious, do you know if there's precedent for cities using CPA money to fund cooperative?
I believe there is in other parts of the Commonwealth.
Great.
Do they need to be a nonprofit for this?
I am not sure on the legal structure they'll need for this process. I mean, we do fund mortgage subsidies to direct individuals, right? Our Valley CDC mortgage subsidy program without those individuals being nonprofits. So I anticipate this would be a mortgage subsidy request. That's kind of how they phrase it here.
All right. Thank you. Anything else?
That's
Community
all for
affairs
correspondence.
requests? Great. Thank you. Open project updates and account balances.
Yep. Okay, our available balances worksheet. So here we are. Our relevant line here is our orange line. Yep. Hold on. Our orange line, which is our available balance if all pending projects were fully funded. Sorry, our orange line is our available balances before our pending projects. So that's essentially our current balance after the projects that this committee and at this point the City Council has also committed to fund. So our orange line is our available balances, and our yellow line is the available balances if all pending projects were fully funded. So including the 2 applications that are on the table.
Great.
Great.
Any questions from the committee? Thank you.
Excellent. And not a ton of updates on the open project balance side. Old Town Hall continues to move forward. I believe they installed some part of the elevator yesterday. We got some correspondence about that. So that project has been moving along swiftly now that it is in construction.
Thank you. All right. And nothing else on that?
Nothing else on that.
Great. The rescinding of Nashwanik Pond platform application.
Yep. So I have this correspondence. Oh, did I get this
Sort of.
to you all? Stop sharing. Here we go. Okay. So I have this correspondence from Beth Tiffany that the Friends of Nashwanik Pond have received a $25,000 donation for the restoration of the viewing platform. And I do believe the name of the donor is public, but I won't announce it here. But I think I think I can say with the committee that it's someone who was married on the platform, and he came forward and donated $25,000, which will cover both the repair, the $20,000 repair the Nashwanik Pond Steering Committee had in mind, and also $5,000 for maybe additional improvements or ongoing maintenance of the platform.
That's great. Yeah, great that it's being fun. I'm glad it's still happening, and even better that it's being funded. So that's great news. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Ava, for quickly going through the administrative business. Now we're on to new business. First thing on the agenda is Muttersfield Accessible Trail Brickyard Brook renovation presentation.
Switch these.
Come on up.
So I'm gonna just pull up just your application. Yes.
That's all we need. We saw it all.
Okay. Your application. Yeah.
It is our application.
Yes.
And I'm here with, several board of directors members.
Great. That's actually helpful to know. Thank you. No, really.
No, we have a lot of support.
Yeah, great.
Besides the general public. My board supports me, which is always nice.
Do you want to give kind of a brief explanation of the project?
Sure. Well, this marks the 10-year anniversary of the opening of Mars Field, which is probably Pascomet Conservation Trust's most heavily visited property. From the local neighborhoods and people driving there, it was the first accessible trail Easthampton Nature Trail, safe to say. And people started using it, even before it was completely open. And they continue to this day. And nothing lasts forever. I have a good example of that. So the edging on the trail is, so is Dan, by the way. So we based the design of the trail on a trail in Hadley. It's the U.S. Fish and Wildlife's.
The Conti, yeah, Sylvia Conti.
Right, and they built their trail on top of the ground, and we were required to not do any digging for this trail because the Mass Historic Commission said that there was a slight possibility that there could be some Native American, whatever there. We thought it was highly unlikely given the location and so forth, but we went along with the rules and we built the trail on top of the ground. And the way the trail is constructed is wooden edging, which we used pressure treated wood for. And apparently the life of pressure treated is about 10 years. And so it's been deteriorating over the last few years. And now there are many areas of the trail that really are rotting away. And we've been shoring it up as best we can. What we really need to do is to replace the edging of the trail with, we're going to use Trex this time, which is a much longer lifespan. So that's, we provided some pretty good photos to give examples of what it looks like. Yeah.
I didn't know Trex came in 2-inch fiber.
What was that?
I didn't know Trex came in 2x. Sorry, I guess
What's cheaper than that, right?
So there are actually two options that we're looking at. One is there's fascia board
Right.
that's composite. And
Yeah, but that's only 1-inch thick.
yes, yeah. And then the other possibility is steel. You have to do some field experiments to figure out. And the depth is fine. Those boards.
Those are 2x6s.
Anyway, so we get the same. But one thing that really don't want to happen is deteriorate off the surface, but everything else doesn't have to rebuild it.
Yes.
I would recommend the Trex because steel scares me. It's gonna rust.
Right.
And I've used the Trex fascia board. It does bend quite easily.
Yeah.
You just have to put some kind of post in as you go.
Right, we're thinking of maybe steel supports along the edge to keep it in place.
What do you think?
So that's one component of our request. If we go to the East Street entrance, where we have a ramp that comes down from the small parking area, we need to renew some of the plantings there, which last 10 years, some have survived. I haven't planted native plantings, wildlife friendly native plantings. But it was too similar to replace the ones that have been lost. And also part of that is at the bottom, there was a rain garden constructed to get the runoff from the parking lot. And that's been kind of overtaken by invasive plants, and some of the original plantings are no longer visible there. So we want to renew that. Then, as you go just a little past the ramp, there's a small brook that has a culvert currently, and that culvert is deteriorating. And we looked at it, we spoke with an engineer about it, and it gets really complicated to replace a culvert with many different levels. And so rather than go through that process, we've chosen to put a bridge over it and let nature take its course. And the bridge would have, we'd say, like 4 feet on each side at least, maybe 6 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the bridge would be aluminum and wood, steel. Is that right? All aluminum.
Where are you talking about again? Like
This is just past the
East Street entrance?
in the east on the East Street entrance, which is a parking area.
Yeah.
Yeah, right in the area that I think it's that yellow square. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's the
go down
stream
from
crossing there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a really small stream, but it is pretty active all year long. So.
Okay.
So that's another component of it,
There are pictures of that.
Mhm.
right?
Here
Here's
comes-
the proposed bridge.
Wooden deck.
Yes. And wooden hill, handrails.
Yeah.
Excellent. This is what it looks like right now.
I need to introduce my partner in crime here, Garrett Stover, who is our ACE volunteer. Case of the film. And Garrett did a lot of research into that bridge replacement. So that's what it looks like currently.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's really breaking down that culvert. Yeah. At some point it will become a problem, but by bridging it, we can avoid having to deal with it. So then,
We're actually proposing to remove the culvert to restore natural stream flow.
oh, good idea.
Stabilize.
Yeah,
As part of the bridge installation,
Yeah.
you're saying, okay.
right.
Anybody gonna mention what it is accessible trail for handicap, wheelchairs, people with their strollers. I live around there and I helped maintain the area. And so a lot of people use it. A lot of people walk. There's tables for a wheelchair to go under and people with them so they can have a picnic. There's a shell and stuff like that.
Will you say your
So
name
it's
again?
well used.
Will you say your name again for the record?
Ed Prokat.
Thank you.
Prokat.
And it's another one of our super volunteers. Yeah, when we could, no, some are more super than others. Beg your pardon, Dan. Yeah, I should just add that when we were designing the trail, constructing it, we wanted to have places for people to rest along the trail. So we have several benches. We've got an area that's under a rain shelter. And as Ed mentioned, there are handicap accessible picnic tables that allow for 2 wheelchairs at a time. So that's that component of the trail. And I will mention at this time that Pescomic has received a $99,000 grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture for controlling invasive plants. And this is going to be towards 2 of our properties, and Brickyard Brook Mutters Field is one of them that we'll tackle first. Because it's a terrible invasive problem there, and has been for a long time. And so that'll be happening along with any renovations that we're able to do the trail itself. So we're just trying to make it better and better. Now, if we go to the other end, there are actually 3 ways to get into the property. There's an entrance at the end of East Green Street, which
I remember that.
CPA kindly helped us out when we were first constructing the trail because we had to replace that culvert. That was a bigger one. And without your help on that, we wouldn't have been able to do the rest of it. So at the end of Mount Tom Avenue is the entrance to the Brickyard Brook portion of the property. And that really needs new signage. The signage that we currently have is maybe a little confusing and doesn't express some things as well as we would like. We also want to add a bench so that people who don't feel like they can navigate the entirety of the trail will be able to sit on that bench and enjoy looking at Brickyard Brook and the woods behind. So we're looking at the area in the orange at the top, right? And some plantings there as well, I know. So basically sprucing up that end of the trail. Did I miss anything?
There, Cassandra, there. So some of the basic issues.
Yeah, he said that.
And it's right again, it's pretty kind of dense environment. Probably because it will be screening this shaded growth. The last thing is, over the years, because it's a highly used trail, it's got pretty wide and deep, team again, they are traffic.
Yeah, and we're also hoping to control any erosion into Brickyard Brook. Last year, they did a big project on Cherry Street that you may be aware of, which was designed to prevent erosion into Brickyard Brook. So we're kind of adding on to that, doing our bit.
And just to help let people know, that trail is heavily used by the neighborhood. A lot of times during COVID, because there are walls lives at the end of the street, we'd sit out there and all day long people are coming in and out. And kids, they like to go in the brook, they like to splash around in there. And so what she did to access that property, you kind of have to go through Sue Walsh's property. So she did a deed to a lawyer that when she passes, that's still accessible. Nobody could come in there that, knocked out her house or put in a garage and say, you can't use it anymore. And a lot of people come down and say, is it okay to park and where to go and stuff like that. So it is well used. That's why the trails are being out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I live at the East Street entrance and I see the parking lot from my kitchen window.
Will you say your name too?
Katie Harold, Hereld.
Excellent.
Okay. And I see that parking lot from the kitchen window and it was always used pretty regularly, but since the pandemic, it was discovered. And I can tell you that park is busy morning to night. There are cars coming in and out of that parking lot. Sometimes people will just sit and eat their lunch in the parking lot, but many of them go down, use the trails. Stavros uses this trail for their clientele. I see wheelchairs, I see people on crutches, I see people getting over surgeries. And then people just going to see the butterflies or, sit on the bench and enjoy being out in nature.
Yeah. There's a nice view of the mountain like that.
It's a beautiful,
You'll have to sell me.
So it was just mentioned, Stavros did send in a letter of support for this project that I have projected up on the screen.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to say I live on Maple Street and not the past couple years my kids are living here, but we would go multiple times a day. They played in the brook, we would bring our dog. When I bring a stroller, I could use the accessible trail, and then do park the stroller and then walk into the Brickyard Brook. And so we have spent many days there enjoying it, and it's a really nice space. And then you kind of come out to, it's all, you're in the woods, and then you come out to Muttersfield and the mountain is right there, and it is really special.
Yeah, I like sitting there with the bird boxes set up, looking for bluebirds that might have settled in, or house sparrows that are fighting the bluebirds that don't have a nest.
Maybe we take a moment to go through the funding, and then we could welcome
Yeah,
additional
absolutely.
comments from the community.
So our request, that we request from you is $49,440.
We have 44.
Yeah, I don't think that
No,
matches.
Wait, no, I have that wrong. We're requesting 44,100. The total project cost is 79,300. What was I looking at there?
That's a typo.
It's probably my.
I think it was a typo, yeah. And so in addition, as part of our contribution, Common Trust is going to donate 11,350 cash from our funds, and we've secured 12,200 in donations towards the bridge signage, and we'll also have $6,610 worth of volunteer labor.
And Ava, do you mind just going back there for
Yeah.
just a second? One thing that I think is important to mention is the time. You mentioned here the time sensitivity. Where is it? Somewhere.
Timeline?
Yeah.
Please explain the urgency of this funder request. And because this was just brought, if you could just speak to that.
Sure. Because the trail is so deteriorated in many places, as we get heavy rain events, more the trail washes away, more of it rots. So we want to get on this as soon as we can, because the longer we wait, deterioration happens, and that's the same story with the culvert.
The culvert, I can say, is because I check it, I walk back there all the time. And if this is the edge of the trail, one piece of the culvert, it's about that far away where it's starting to, where you can see it's going to hit the trail very soon.
All right, let's look at the budget that's there.
The other time pressure is trying to get the restoration work done, plantings in before.
Thank you.
So our request represents 56% of the total project cost. And anyone's math challenge, we would be, would be providing 44% of the total project cost.
Good to me.
All right. Committee members, are there additional questions?
I remember when we voted on it.
I know I was going to say, when
I
you
think
said
you were here.
it was 10 years ago, I thought, oh, I remember this. When this originally came up, you were there. Yeah. Yeah. So means been on the committee, I guess, a while. But it really is a well-loved and well-used property for sure.
I
So,
feel like this is my legacy in Easthampton, is because I spent 3 years leading this project, working on design issues and so forth, securing money. So this is my baby.
Well, they should name it after you.
Mary.
I just have one question. When you were describing it, you said that you were going to replace it with wood. And here is a Permatech, I guess that's the name, like recycled rosin planking. Is that, which one are you going to use?
The original edging was wood.
Is wood, but is that what you're going to replace with?
No. definitely not.
Oh, you're gonna.
But
Are we talking about the
I think,
siding? Are
I
we
think
talking
you
about
might be
the
thinking about when they were doing wood for the decking of the bridge.
Yes,
That is gonna be wood, right?
Right,
Yeah.
that's correct.
yes. That's the second year, and then you said, well, that's.
Oh, okay. Cause that, yeah, cause I guess, cause that's like decking, not the edging.
It's-
We've used just plain wood decking, both for the trolley line and Pomeroy Meadow, which are very similar design. And because they're up in the air.
They dry.
Water.
They're not touching
They're not touching the ground.
Right. It's
So-
new
so
last
far, so good.
November.
And it's cheap.
Not pressure
So
treated,
it's
just
this,
regular.
not.
No.
No. For the decking on this bridge, it will be wood.
And the planning will be.
We don't-
That's not pressure treated.
I just want to be sure.
We haven't had to use it so far.
Right.
It's also something that we can repair as
Right,
well.
you can
Yes.
replace a board if you
Right.
need to.
Yes.
And if
Exactly.
you seal it well, you should.
All right.
Okay.
Any other questions from the committee? All right. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve $44,100 for the Muttersfield Accessible Trail and Brickyard Brook. What are we calling it? Repair.
Renovation.
Renovation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Put this
Go.
many
All right.
people in the
Thank
room,
you
I'm-
so much.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So before you all leave, let's take a look at the project funding agreement and the conditions that the committee wants to have. I just drafted this, but this is a draft. So are there any particular conditions?
Put a sign there someplace.
Yeah,
There
we,
is-
we have a sign currently thanking you at the East Green Street entrance, and we can put another sign. at East-
Yeah.
East Street
Remember, it
entrance.
was CPA sign.
Well, maybe a plaque on the bridge could be nice.
Sure.
Let me say why I
Yeah.
asked that.
Yeah.
There is an effort to rescind the CPA. We need to make sure that people know what we do with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we will make a prominent sign, thanking you all for your support of our work.
Appreciate it.
So
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you beyond words, really.
I don't have any problem.
December 2028, is that more time than you need? I mean, when, like the timeline as far as when this would be completed?
No, that's not a problem.
Okay. And,
And the first update, December 2026. That's not a problem either.
great.
and then our temporary project sign, we have banners. If you all don't have one from previous projects, we can loan you the city temporary project banner.
Great.
And then the
And
permanent
everything else
plaque.
is
Sure, we can,
pretty.
absolutely can do that.
Any other comments, committee on the planning group? Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So,
Thank you.
So it will go to city council on,
yeah, hopefully it will go for first reading at the June 3rd meeting, which means it'll be voted on at the June 17th meeting of city council, and it'll be reviewed by finance committee in between those two. So likely the middle Wednesday of June. It would be great if someone from PCT is there. We try to
We'll
ask
pack the
applicants. Excellent.
all right.
I would check with Tom Kuchan and all that.
13 of us.
Yeah.
You may have to wait till July, I hope not.
No, I'm hopeful that we've set this up with the May vote so that we could get it done in this fiscal year.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying. you
Right.
didn't Expect an override either.
Right,
I
right.
just want to thank Eva for her help on this. She's really been supportive of our project and very helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you all for coming out. If you didn't sign in, please sign in on your
And
way
when you
out.
leave, don't trip over the wire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have to recuse myself from the dog park close.
Yes.
So just to let you know.
Great. Actually, let's put
We
that.
still have 5 people here, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm glad the rest of you are here.
Yep.
Thank you.
So I had a little
Thank you.
something to say. Just thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
No
so
problem.
much.
Thank you for making these happen.
And Ed does a lot. I mean, keep it straight without it. True.
They should think that.
All
All
right.
right. Thank you so much. Now we're moving along to the dog park. Welcome back once again. If you want to, you're welcome to come up here or stay where you are. If you want to just quickly kind of give a recap for anybody who wasn't there, or Joan, I don't know if you want to do that remotely. Whoever, let's just say a few words.
Joan?
She's frozen. She's frozen. She's frozen.
She frozen or just really still? You're trying to wait. Yeah. I think she is frozen. Joan, you can't hear us, can you?
Wait a minute. Can you see me on the screen? She just asked.
Joan
She's
did
having
ask me
network
to
problems.
Represent the dog park.
All right.
While she was out of town, but I said I will do my very best.
Tell us your name.
I'm Lisa Downing. I live on Beechwood Avenue. And if there's something I can't answer, that's straight to Joan and my fellow board members. So I've been with the dog park and the dog park committee for several years now, and it's been a winding road. We're really excited to be here tonight for what I think is the vote on our CPA application. That would be the funding that we would need to get us over the finish line so that we could start building this project in Novotuck Park in partnership with John Nason and the Parks and Rec Department. I don't know what else to do.
Well, in truth, you presented in April, right? April, yeah, and had a pretty thorough presentation, and I think we've seen this project a number of times come before us, which has been great. Are there? I don't know if we need to do a review of the materials, but are there questions from the committee? Anything about the dog park or any other questions that didn't get answered last month or that we still had follow up on?
I just wanted to ask, maybe Ken or somebody can answer, how you doing on the rest of your funding? I know you got a pretty big donation.
Yeah, we do regular fundraising, right? And
Yes.
this 135,000 completes, I believe, the money we'll need, or at least the start of the build of this project, right?
Yes, I will say that we worked with Bill Cannon, who's the architect and the design fund. Thank you for your support of that. That's been paid for. And so he's preparing bidding documents for when we're ready to move to the next step. But the committee has been really thoughtful in terms of trying to create a park that's safe and meets the needs of dog owners without being anything more. And so, for instance, and this probably came up last time, the gazebo, which was really nice and attractive. We decided we didn't really need that to open the dog park, so that's been taken off. So it's been stripped down to what's necessary, but also with keeping in mind without any compromise to safety and general enjoyment. And I think over the years, we have a very strong group of committed community members that we've heard about that, how we're prepared to help maintain the park. I think we'll also continue to do fundraising for ongoing maintenance and future enhancements.
We are constantly doing the fundraising. We have one couple of them coming up, and it's about 7 or 8 right during the year. So next Wednesday, 9 to donate at Texas Roadhouse.
So there you go.
And I'll just say one thing, because I love that last project. I'm a big fan of the land trust. And I hear sometimes that people are irresponsible dog owners and that they will let their off-leash dogs run in places like that, where that's not the environment that it's disruptive to wildlife. This park will create a sanctioned, safe place for dogs to run off leash and create community, especially for people who are renters who need condos, who are getting older and can't walk their dog to give them the exercise. And all this I'm sure you've heard before, but I think it's going to be a really great enhancement for us.
I think it's great. That last point I think is really important, right? When we have spaces that we say, please keep your dog on leash. It is, it's harder to enforce when there's no place for your dog to be off leash. So I think that is really fun. One thing I just thought of that I'm a teacher and my students are doing a lot with like plastic waste this year. So one question actually I had, is there going to be like bags available for dog waste? And is is there any way to get, and this is like in the weeds, but it's something that I've been thinking a lot about, is like the compostable bags as opposed to plastic. I would just hate for like city projects to be contributing more to like single-use plastic for every time there needs to be, yeah, if that could be.
Absolutely. There is Counselor Dano.
Yep.
Here. There's something about, yes, Joe, sorry, one more thing and I'll turn over to you. There's something about even like waste.
Composting.
Yes, to actually, so it can,
We're looking into it.
generate soil and actually zero waste.
That'd be great. I mean, just, you know, I just think it's, especially in the park, to think of the foot, you know, it's going to have some footprint, little footprints, but lots of little footprints, right? So we do want to think about the impact that would be. So that's one thing to consider. Anything else? Oh, Joan.
Oh, she froze again.
Sorry.
Joan, if you use your audio, if you can hear us, if you use your audio, your video is frozen, but I think we can hear you.
She froze again.
Maybe try shutting off your camera and just talking.
I don't think she can hear us.
Oh, let me tell her.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Are you texting? I do want to give her the opportunity to speak before we, just because I know she's been so involved. Yeah. Is she out of town? Is that?
Yes. Oh, she's back. Oh, she's in New Hampshire. I just told her to New Hampshire camera. I believe she's in New Hampshire. See if it works.
Maybe they're having a storm there too.
Well, we're gonna get rain here.
Did she get back to you there?
I just said try shutting off the camera and using the audio.
All right. All right. I think, I mean, one thing that we have heard before is Joan's voice very eloquent. Oh, are you there? Joan, are you there? If you want to say something about this, that'd be great.
I got an idea.
Yes.
Joan, speaker, Joan.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. I apologize. Again, I'm in the White Mountains of New Hampshire and network problems.
No problem. If you, but yeah, this is your opportunity for it.
As Lisa said, there is a,
It'll stay. Where the bags are compostable, you pick up the poops, you put it into this digester, and it can power one light in the dog park.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's a multi-purpose. Obviously, that is at this point out of our financial range, but in the future, that's something that we are definitely considering.
And once it gets going, I feel like that could be, like, once the dog park is operational, I feel like that could be a good fundraising, incentive, right? Like make this happen. Could we put like a wheel too to fund to get more power for more lights? No, I'm just kidding.
As far as I know, so far just powers one, but they're actually looking at it.
He was kidding, Joe.
Sorry, it doesn't translate very well. All right. I think it's a great idea. Thank you, Joan, and thank you for all your hard work all along the way in this project up to this point.
It's been my pleasure. I'm going to be a little selfish. I want my dog to be able to run without a leash, so it works all around you.
Great, thank you.
No, thank you.
Bye, Joan.
All right. Is there anybody else from the committee that has any questions? Anybody else from the public that wants to say anything more about this project? All right.
Yes, we are where we need to put CPA signs up.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll get to that afterwards. You don't have to put CPA signs up unless we approve it. So first we got to approve it. Do you know what I mean? Yes, Mary.
I don't know if it's hard to plant at some point. Is there going to be any charges for the dog park, like a membership for a year or anything like that? Did y'all talk about that?
Yeah,
or not?
right now it's because it's within Naugatuck, the park fee structure would still be in place. But the dog park itself would not, would be free to access. We
Right.
certainly always are welcome. Donations are always welcome,
Yeah.
but it would be a requirement to use it.
I didn't know at some point if you might have to do that. But
I
think
brought it up at one
traditionally-
point, but I think the committee seems really, like, we really want this to be accessible.
I was
everywhere.
anti-wanting
Yeah.
to pay. Wanted it to be accessible to everybody. I was
Yes.
actually one of the 2 people out of 100 when we had that meeting in 2019 was
That wasn't
anti-Naugatuck Park. Because I didn't want people to have to pay that. You don't have to pay during the week, so, you know, I want to anybody to
You
be able
only
to
have to
afford it.
pay if you're driving.
That's right.
Right,
That's true. If you walk in,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Yeah, I think people that are disabled.
Yeah,
I
right.
couldn't make that trek.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, so.
It's a great location. We're very, very.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. well, I know that was a big part of the journey, is finding the
Yes.
right place. Anyone else have anything to say? I'll take a motion if anybody wants to make a
I
motion.
move that we approve $135,000 for the dog park construction. Second.
Excellent. All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
And one abstention. Anybody opposed? All right, there we go. 5-0 to 1.
Very good.
There you go. Congratulations.
Long time coming, it's about time.
Yeah. All right. Well, the dogs will have to come and thank us next time. All right. So before we leave, we do have to now that we've approved it. So the stipulations. What do you have? December 2028. Is that? I mean, we should be able to get it done before then, right? Having our first update in December. I'm not sure. Like, you'll be putting things out to bid by the, or what do you? How will you do that before this? What will happen before December?
Yeah, John, yeah, we're gonna go meet with John as soon as it goes through
Got
the
it.
city council. We might meet with him before it even goes to city council.
All right. So
Yeah, we have to go to city
you
council.
got to go to city council to get. I mean,
Yeah.
that it'll be approved, but you can certainly start
Yeah.
talking.
We're
But yeah,
gonna start talking. We've been talking.
every 6 months we like an update on how the money's being spent. First one would be December of this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and like Dan said, especially, obviously where the city's at financially, the CPA, people have been saying things about it. It's a separate thing and it can't be, touched from, it has no effect on the budget, the school, the school budget or all these are, there's 3 areas that can go to. But I think really utilizing existing projects as education of how the CPA benefits the community. I think there's very few people in Easthampton that haven't been touched by a CPA project. So I think that, having a sign, both temporary while it's under construction and a permanent sign as part of that would be really important.
So I would hold June 10th for the finance committee meeting, assuming it gets scheduled for when it usually does, which is the Wednesday, and then June 17th as the city council hearing.
You guys should show up in force.
But confirm the finance committee meeting once the agenda is posted,
Okay.
because that's the one that can move around the week sometimes.
Especially right now.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Before you guys,
Thank you.
I
Oh.
just want to say one thing. We had our press meeting last night and went over the budget and the different scenarios. And John did mention that he's still very much in favor of this project, but depending on the budget, if they're cutting park services, that might limit his availability for the other projects that are going on in terms of timeline. Hopefully not too far in the future, but I would wait until it's approved before you talk to him about
Right.
the timeline of the project with the budget considerations.
Thank
And I
you.
vote yes, but that's just me.
All right. Thank you so much.
You know what I'm talking about.
Thank you all.
Thanks so much.
Did you all sign in on your way
Did you
in?
sign it? Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'll watch the court. I wouldn't want anybody to.
What is HPR?
Historic preservation restriction.
Oh,
All right. But before we get to that, information about the low/moderate exemption of the CPA surcharge.
Yeah, we're just going to do some public education for you all so that you can educate the voters of Easthampton about CPA adequately.
Thanks so
because
much.
our surcharge procedure is complex. So I dropped this in your folder. I outlined this for Counselor Denham, who was asking me a bunch of questions about it. And so I did an example math. So we're just going to run through how our surcharge works and then what the low moderate income exemption is. At some point, I intend to do a short presentation about this that will hopefully the planning department will film, and it'll be available on social media. So that's going to happen in the next before June 9th. So but I thought I would get you, because I'm not going to see you all again until July. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to go through it.
Right, this fair.
Yeah, great. Okay. Okay, so when the Easthampton voters enacted CPA in 2002, some of you were here, you enacted the first $100,000 exemption. So everyone's property, the first $100,000 of everyone's property is not subject to the CPA surcharge. That portion of their property tax that they pay on the first $100,000 is not subject to the surcharge, which makes it more of a progressive tax than other property taxes we have here in the city and elsewhere. And then in 2020, Easthampton also adopted the low moderate income exemption. So individuals, non-seniors under 80% AMI can apply for the low income exemption to paying their CPA surcharge, and seniors below 100% AMI can apply to essentially not pay their CPA surcharge. And so this is the pamphlet that's on the assessor's website, and you can get it in her office as well. I'm not going to lie, it's definitely a pain. It's a lot of income forms, like everything. It requires you to submit a lot of information about your gross income, which is definitely not a burden for folks, but it does provide individuals who are under these thresholds the ability to have relief from their CPA surcharge. Yeah, so you all, the voters or city council adopted that, I want to say, in 2020. I read a fabulous letter to the editor written by our very own Dan Rist supporting that exemption in 2020. A lot of communities around the Commonwealth have added this surcharge or brought it in at the time that they enacted CPA. There's a very limited number of exemptions we can have to our CPA. That was a question Counselor Denham had. She was like, could we exempt the first 200,000? Could we do something else? Could we da-da-da? And essentially, no. The only exemptions that we don't have that are allowable by the CPA legislation basically give surcharge exemptions to commercial properties, either their first 100,000, or there's actually an allowable CPA exemption that exempts commercial properties entirely from CPA. It's not particularly what
Is that locally adopted?
No. So the only two we have are the first 100,000 and, you mean, do those get adopted on the local level? Yeah. All of this, the 4 CPA possible exemptions are either voted in when the CPA legislation is voted in, or they're added as amendments to the CPA charter in the city.
Is there a rate initially? What is it? What is the deduction? 2%, 1%?
The surcharge? Yes. CPA we are a 3% CPA surcharge community. Yep. And that's why we get that additional chunk of funding every year from the state in rounds 2 and 3 of state funding distribution, which we wouldn't get if this community ever decided to roll back CPA to a lower percentage of surcharge. So we get more support from the state because we're a 3% community.
And just so everybody knows, the only way that this could be rolled back or changed is through a vote of the city.
Yeah, a full referendum, not a city council vote. Yep.
I think this last paragraph is really important. This is what people should know.
Yeah. So this is how this would work. This is how the surcharge works. It's a surcharge, again, on your property tax bill. So
Which I think people don't always get. That it's like, oh, this is 3% of my assessed property value. No. go. Sorry.
Okay.
It's
So
just like,
yeah, totally. So we have a home in Easthampton that's assessed at $400,000. That's just under the average home assessed value in Easthampton. I believe it's like 411 as of last year. Those owners are not low to moderate income, and they didn't apply for the exemption. So from the DOR property tax impact override calculator, I did out the math here for Connie for the post override tax rate. I believe I also have the number. Well, I'm going to go through this first and then we can look at the change. So the post 6.9 million override tax rate is planned to be $15.91 per $1,000 of property value. Also known as 1.591%, is another way of representing that same number. So your $400,000 house, the first $100,000 of your house is exempt. So your net value to be surcharged is $300,000. Now we apply the post override tax rate of 1.591% to your $300,000. The amount subject to the surcharge is $4,773. So that's lower than your property tax bill because your property tax bill doesn't exempt your first $100,000. With our 3% CPA surcharge as a 3% community, the CPA surcharge for this homeowner, which is very much like a typical homeowner here in Easthampton, is $143 annually.
Yeah.
Kira also reached out. I did this math for you. Yeah. So,
but let's just before you move on.
Yep.
So for someone at home that's assessed at $400,000, CPA post override is $143. And and not for really here, but for anybody who's watching at home, just to think of all the things the Community Preservation Act has added to Easthampton over the years. And the meeting in March, we had a really good overview of all these projects. It just feels like a bargain for the value that the CPA brings to the city. Keep going. Sorry, I just that number.
There's preaching to it.
I know I am. That's why I'm not preaching to you. I'm preaching to
totally the broader public. I think, our meetings are televised, so this is a good opportunity for us to just sort of review this for the community. So we're gonna revisit this same house, but what they pay now. So this $400,000 house, currently amount that is surcharged, if you remember from that email, is $4,170. So currently they pay $125 in CPA surcharge. So and then this is the same math we just went over. So this would be an increase of $18 of CPA surcharge.
They could afford the $110. They could afford it.
So post override, this house of $400,000 would experience an $18 annually increase in CPA.
It's going on.
That's the rent study committee. So I do think in the midst of all of this, like, it's a great moment for us to talk about just how how little that individual taxpayer amount of contribution to CPA is. That $143 or the $125, either of those numbers are really a pretty small number for most people. However, they're not a small number for all people. And for low income people and low and moderate income seniors, anyone whose income amount is under these thresholds, we really encourage you to apply for the low moderate income exemption that exempts you fully from the CPA surcharge.
Okay. Find a way to advertise that more, because I didn't know.
I didn't know about it either. I'm surprised that we haven't,
Right. Yep. Yeah. So I think a presentation, once I put this presentation together and we put it on social media, I think a presentation at the Council on Aging is a good move as well.
There's legislation being considered by the City Council for neighbor to neighbor help for taxpayers. One neighbor who happens to be more wealthy than another can contribute to the tax paying of their other neighbor. When that legislation comes forward at the City Council, I'll come and tell them about this, because that's a broader I'm gonna talk to you about that.
Yeah,
Well,
I
and
do
that'll
think
be-
I do think doing a very brief presentation at City Council as well as the Council on Aging at some point makes sense. I think, we're talking about this right now because we're obviously in a budget crisis and we're in the midst of a budget override discussion. But I will just note that this isn't really, so it's April 1 that you have to submit for the following fiscal year. So we have a long time to do the ramp up to get the word out for FY28 about this exemption, but the time has passed for this next year.
And I could see there being programming at the Council on Aging where there's a day where seniors can come and, have a list of the things they need and get help filling out those applications as well.
Right.
Great. All right. Anything else on that?
I don't believe so.
All right. Thank you, Ava. Continued business. HPR discussion.
Yeah, I thought I would have a little more for you by this point than I do. So this, just to revisit this for the committee, is the historic preservation restriction that the city is pursuing on the 9 Park Street, the 9 Park Street location of the library. So the city is going to pursue that preservation restriction. Initially, we thought that we would ask the library to pursue getting it together to put it on themselves. The city is going to pursue it with the help of our legal, the legal team, likely using some of those CPA admin expenses to pay for some consultants. If it looks like it's going to be a more substantial project, then we'll probably bring forth a small request for you all for some consultant help. There continues to be more things that evolve, including, and perhaps some of you already know this, there are 2 other historic structures on the premises of the library. So we need to figure out how we want to manage those. There's the World War I memorial there, which is considered a historic structure. And there's also a milestone. Have the committee members seen this? There's a milestone on the Park Street side of the library, just like sitting in the ground. It's pretty nondescript. It just looks like a rock, but it's from the 1700s, and it was used to mark the distances of.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know
journeys.
that.
It's a milestone. Yes, a mile marker milestone
Actually, yeah.
from the mid 1700s.
Well, we should just preserve the entire property.
Right. Yeah, so there's a lot of details still to be worked out. We are likely going to need to do some baseline documentation of it, so some assembling of all of the necessary information, essentially cataloging, inventorying of the property. So it continues to remain to be seen what we'll do in-house in the city, and what we'll consult out for. On that note, and we didn't cover this earlier, but I just want to jump back to possible future projects, because Allison and I discussed maybe lumping these into one. A housing production plan is on the horizon for the city. We're due for one. There's a hope to do this as a larger housing production plan and evaluation of environmental impacts of increased density over the aquifer. So really a sort of like merge environmental impact and how do we build enough housing in this city in the right places to make it affordable for everyone who wants to live here. So Allison is going for a big grant for that because that's going to be a big project. It's going to involve quite a bit of study of the aquifer. So this is a 10% match number that she asked to have you guys have on your radar as a possible first quarter FY27 preliminary application.
Thank you. One quick thing, this is administrative, but something I've been just heard about more recently is the ways that acronyms can reduce accessibility for people. So I think it's good practice to
historic preservation restriction.
Yeah, it took me a second to know what that was.
Oh, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, so I think just in general, I think it's good practice for the committee and for all committees to spell out acronyms. Actually, in that light, I'd probably up here, you don't have to do it every time, but the first time I'd probably spell out community preservation, community preservation
Act.
Yeah. So you know what I mean? There you go. But just because sometimes it can make people feel like, wait, I'm dumb. I don't know what I'm doing because I don't know the acronym, and that way it can There you go. It's very minor, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else on it? Yes, Mary?
Yeah, you might have gone over this, and I just didn't hear it, but, for the rescinding of the pond platform, I think you mentioned it, but did they rescind it forever or?
They rescinded it because they got outside funding to
Oh,
be able to
okay.
fund the
They got
project. The
their
project is
donation.
still funded. Yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Anything else?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Awesome. All in favor? Aye. Great. Abstentions.
Jay staying.
Jay staying? Okay. Well, he's
Right.
outvoted,
Try to
so.
give other people a chance.
All right. Thank you.
and our local cable subscribers.